Of Working Families, Teamsters, 1932.org.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and MBRradio.us. We got to bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also, streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website. The station leaves no listener behind. Also, go get the app. And if you heard the conversation in the little PSA about the app, that's my voice in there too. I got my royalty check coming, hopefully. But yeah, make sure you go get the app for KCA Radio. That way you can download it to your device and listen to us all over the place. All right. Tonight, just got a couple of things we want to talk about first. And then I got my guy calling in about 25 after. He wants to discuss some mental toughness stuff. So BR is going to be here. And yeah, it's been a nice, quiet Sunday. I had my grandson the last 2 days, 5 years old. Let me tell you, man, being a grandpa it's something different. It's like you get to make all the corrections from your children, huh? And then he left today, and I was like, I was experiencing sadness. I was like, man, I think y'all should just come and stay with me instead. Psych. Nah, I mean, they could stay for, a couple of days. I'm good, but nothing like having that little body running around the house. So smart, so well behaved. I let him speak, let him share. I listen. He wants me to play with him, so I got to put down the devices and, play with the Legos and the remote control cars. And he wants to watch movies. He wants to watch Bad Boys. I'm like, you're 5, dude, but he's seen all these movies already, so it's not like I'm not exposing him to nothing that he ain't already seen before. So, because his mom and grandma, they watch all that stuff. So, but it was good. It was good to be with him these last 2 days. Just helping him with that male figure. And my heart is full. My heart meaning my mind, my subconscious mind it's full. And like I said, I experienced a little bit of sadness when they left, but I'll see him again this week. What else? I guess I can unofficially announce, but if you are in the Inland Empire and you are keeping up with the American Basketball Association, as you hear on my show, I have the Ventura County Orcas. I also have the Riverside County Mavericks. And most recently, by this time tomorrow, I will be the new owner of the IE Hounds, the Inland Empire Hounds. Right now, they are number 9 in the ABA. Yeah. So shouts out to my partners over there. I'm so grateful as he's in this transition of moving from the ABA as an owner. He trusts me with his team. I have a lot of plans for it. They're already doing some good things out there. So if you're not familiar with the IE Hounds, they are an American Basketball Association team. Yes, the ABA is still, franchises are still out there. There's about 200 teams or so out across the country. And I launched my first team this year with the Ventura County Orcas development team. And just so you know, as I have these basketball teams, there is a vision, there is a plan for it. It's more than just playing basketball. If you know a basketball player, players want to play. A lot of us, I played basketball. We have that identity in that basketball, right? That's who we are. That's what we do. And sometimes we lose sight of life. We lose sight of who we are. And so some of these guys, basketball is their whole life. Some of these guys have had their parents weren't around, or their father wasn't around, or all they had was basketball. Kept them off the streets, kept them sane, whatever that is. They've created this identity into basketball. And it's not wrong. This is not right or wrong, good or bad, but me being a basketball player as an identity, and then being a soldier for 24 years as an identity, and now being a sickle cell trait advocate as an identity, and being a broadcaster as an identity. Like, we deal with all these different things, especially if for men, we're already trying to figure out who we are. Why was I born? What is, we all ask those questions to ourselves. So my plan is to have these teams, yes, play and compete for a championship in the ABA, but also, what better opportunity to develop men? So ABA, you can be 18 up to however old you think you can still ball. But I really want to take that platform, and for those basketball players, those men who are willing to look in their life and see what's going on with that identity, to challenge the past, to challenge those thoughts, to challenge that behavior, to challenge that moment of crashing out, to challenge that moment where you feel like you got to give your opinion, to challenge that moment to be coachable. Like, what is that? And a lot of times it's that identity. A lot of times that identity wants to be in charge, and I'm the best player, and so then now you have players who aren't coachable. Like, you have this whole dynamic, right? And so my thing is to come in and yes, practice, compete, but I want you to leave this team a better human being. Yes, if you get an opportunity to go play overseas, or the G League, or another team picks you up, I'm good with that. I'm not here to hold any player back. But if you're willing to look in your life and develop and figure out who you are as a person, and where is that attitude coming from? Check your language. Can you check how you talk, how you describe life? That's why. That's my why for having 3 basketball teams, 3 professional ABA basketball teams. And so that's my plan. So you can go to farrond.com. You can look up the Orcas ABA as well. The Riverside County Maverick Lions, and soon to be under the umbrella is the IE Hounds. It's shocking because they are number 9. They beat us by 81. I ain't gonna lie to you. They beat us by 81 points. So they're good. He has a great program over there. They've been together for a few years now. The chemistry, the coach LG. Is supposed to be my coach for the Mavericks next year, but since we're all connected now, doesn't matter where he coaches. But that's the plan. The Inland Empire is right here. My Sickle Cell Trait Foundation, WDCONSTT.org. I'm going to wrap that conversation around there because athletes have collapsed and died playing sports, exercising in the military. And so what better way to have a platform where I can get my message out, but I'm also going to share that message out with the community. Right, I'm a veteran, so we talk about veteran suicide. We talk about youth suicide. We talk about whatever you want to talk about. My show is open to the public, so we talk about lupus and all kind of chronic illnesses and all different kind of categories. It's a variety show. And so I'm going to use that basketball platform for the same. They're already in schools. They already have a junior Hounds for the children. Like they've already got some things in works at the Hounds already that we're just going to, I'm going to get to be a part of, put it that way, and then branch off and do my other teams with the junior Orcas and the junior Mavericks and such. So, yeah, farrond.com to follow along with that. At Farron Dozier on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can find all the updates there. If you want to be a guest on the show, I'm always accepting guests. So you can always reach out to me and be a part of an episode or whatever. Like I said, we talk about all kind of things, which is what I'm going to talk about after this break. I'm going to share with you the revamp of some of the I call them additions now, because I'm trying to just kind of streamline everything, into these different conversations. I got about 4 or 5 shows. I got about 3 more in mind to do. And it's like, how do I manage all these without trying to go be on the air 5, 6, 7 days a week? So we're going to play this public service announcement by Call Me Go. Again, you hear this PSA, it is directed to veterans. However, as a human being, we all deal with some type of stress and anxiety, panic attacks. And so sometimes it's just a matter of your breathing that can get you to be calm, right? So we talk about feelings and emotions, right? And what's driving those. And sometimes, it's an upset, it's disappointment, it's anxiety. Anxiety is living in the future of uncertainty. Depression is living in the past. So if you're living in the future of uncertainty and you're living out into next week or 2 years from now or 2 weeks from now, your present moment is going to be anxious because you're living in your thoughts all the way out in the future that you can't control. We can't control the future. We think we can, but we can't. So that's anxiety. And then you talk about depression. That is the past. Maybe you got to forgive yourself for something. Maybe you have to ask somebody to forgive you for something from your past. But it starts with you. Maybe you have to reevaluate that and look in your life and see where you're mad at yourself by making some bad decisions or bad choices, or maybe you made some decisions for a reason and you didn't foresee that unforeseen consequence. So now you don't want to make another decision because you think it's how you make your decisions or your reasoning, but it's why you did it. And sometimes we defend that reason. So then we get stuck in making new choices or decisions because of the reasons why, and it didn't turn out how I thought it should. It's all mental, right? However you manage your mental health, it's important. And so one of the conversations that we're bringing to the Ventura County Orcas and to the IE Hounds and to the Riverside County Mavericks is that conversation that we teach. We have a curriculum that we can teach from 8 years old up to adults. And I call it the prerequisite to mental health. I call it mental toughness, because sometimes you got to soften your heart. Sometimes you got to soften that heart to figure out what kind of services you need. Because of, again, your identity or your pride or your ego or whatever that is. Like, I don't need no mental health. I ain't got no problem. No one escapes it. So I'm grateful for Call Me Go. They did sponsor the jump off tournament just a few weeks ago. And we lost 1 game in the jump off out of 2. So we came away with 1 win and 1 loss in the jump off. So I'm grateful for Call Me Go to believe in us as an ABA platform, and so they sponsored that weekend. So if you're interested in being a sponsor for the Hounds, and we can offer you, 3 teams now. So just reach out to me at Farron Dozier on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or farrond.com. All right, so check out this PSA for Call Me Go. If you are in the VA department up there, so you got some connects in the VA, we definitely want to get this device in the VA so veterans can have an opportunity to get this device as a prescription and not have to pay for it, and not have to receive medications. Some of us don't want to take drugs. I didn't. I tried it. I felt like a zombie, so I'm like, I don't want that. So for some veterans, we don't want to take drugs, so we need things like this to help us manage life. All right? So this is the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Call Me Go.
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Call Me Go. Call Me Go is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes in moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Call Me Go decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Comigo.com to learn how you can get Comigo through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
Welcome back to the Farron Dozier. Welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also on KCARadio.com. Click listen live or watch live on the website. So real quick, like I said, I have a lot of shows, right? And not to say I'm busy, but I have things in my heart that are important to me, and to express myself, I use this platform of radio since 14 years now. So the Farron Dozier Show, I'm going to keep that as the title, as a main title for my talk shows. It will be the Farron Dozier Show. But as I'm sitting down thinking about this weekend, I have different platforms that I'm on, right? So the KCA radio platform is mainly my sports talk, right? Mental toughness talk, community outreach talk. So I'm calling this one the Farron Dozier Show, featuring Life Towards Sports. And the Life Towards Sports is something that I believe is where I can talk about more than just, sports. Yeah, that's me. So, Life Towards Sports is the edition here at KCA Radio. It is still be a variety show, but you'll hear mainly some sports talk in the sports world, because the sports world is a world of its own. It's its own world. So, if you want to be a guest on the sports show here at KCA Radio, just hit me up again at Farron Dozier, at Sports Collective TV, at Sports Collective Media on Instagram. What else? This is where you'll find the sports crew, Heem Factor, Robert Lamar in the Zone. You'll find all the 20-second timeout sports segment, the Sports Collective TV, media, radio. Cali Sportsman is probably going to be back here. I'll be interviewing the basketball teams here. I'll be doing a lot of talks here. The mental music segment will probably be here as well. So that's the KCA Radio talk show platform, the sports edition, the Life Towards Sports. So you'll be able to hear that here mainly. You might hear some trench talk stuff, but I don't know, maybe not. Like I said, it's a variety show here, but mainly the KCA Radio is going to be revolving around on my sports talk. All right. So that's the Win by DJ Khaled and T-Pain. That's got Ludacris, Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross. I'm not going to play all that because I'm not sure if that's the clean version. It might be the clean version, but I ain't going to take that chance anyway. All right, so that's one edition. My next edition, so that's Sunday nights, of course, if you're listening. Sunday nights at 8 p.m., the Farron Dozier Show, the Life Towards Sports edition here on KCA Radio. Then I'm going to go back to my Zombies, because this is one of my favorite tracks here. This reminds me of my military career. Some of those lyrics, yeah. So the Trench Talk edition is on MBR, right? So that's Military Broadcast Radio. They're out of Denver, Colorado. They are a military platform. And so the Farron Dozier Show on MBR is the Trench Talk U.S. edition. And that's where I'll host most of my military talk shows, shows for the resources for veterans and their family members can share their stories, experiences. So I'm going to do that over there on MBR. So you can go to MBR or just say mbradio.us. And they also have an app, so you can pick up their app too as well. There's a lot of veteran talk shows, people who support veterans. You can go there. They're giving veterans a voice. Beautiful platform. I've been a part of them I did an interview with them about 2021, I think. It took me a few years to get my show over there because I was trying to manage all these different locations, and so I brought my Trench Talk show over there. So that's where that platform is at. What else I got? I got and then on Sundays, well, actually Saturdays at 7 p.m. and then Sundays at 5 p.m. you can catch me on Lit Live. The channel is GH3 Radio. That's God's House of Hip Hop. You can find me over there with One Way TK interviewing Christian artists. Yep. So I have a Christian talk show that I'm a part of on the Revolution Radio Show. And we interview different Christian artists, like I said, and we talk about their life before Christ, when they gave their life to Christ, and then what they're up to today. So I've had some really good interviews over there. Shouts out to J Love for allowing us to hold that down while he takes his break. But that's the Christian Hip Hop Talk Show. That's another expression of my life, as I am a speaker at church, and my cousin's church. I speak on youth Sundays. And the basketball program, it's my ministry. I use the basketball program as a ministry as well. So if you're interested in the Christian Hip Hop Show, Saturdays at 7 p.m., Sundays at 5 p.m., the Revolution Radio Show, it's on litlive.com or also gh3.com. MC Nice is the one who curates that channel. All Christian hip hop all day long. All right, let's see. We got a few more minutes. What else? You can catch me on Beyond 2D. That starts back up in February, right before Valentine's Day. Jessica and we're Beyond 2D. You can catch us on the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. I like that show. That show is for me. That show is for me, where I get to express myself. I get to talk about things that I've learned in life. We pull up different categories. We're going to be talking about this. This one's going to be tough though, but we're going to be talking about love. What's love got to do with it? So that's our episode coming up in February, right before Valentine's Day. Yes, so I might call in sick on that show, but catch me there. The Breakthrough Network radio show. It's called Beyond 2D. Just search that, or you can go to farrond.com and I got all these shows listed on my website too, under Farron D Show on my website. So farrond.com to get a link to the different topics. What else? I think that is. I think that's it. I think that was enough. So yeah, I'm keeping the name Farron Dozier Show. I almost wanted to let that name go, to be honest, because we talk about identity, right? I'm talking about identity crisis, and I just don't. I'm really not comfortable having the show as my name. I have so many other titles for things, and But I was told a couple of years back, you want to brand yourself, right? So I'm making sure that my ego doesn't get caught up in all of this mess. But it also feels kind of selfish because I have co-hosts, I have guests. I mean, I have people that yeah. So he's like, no, don't worry about it. But I know, I just feel like I want everyone to experience being included, right? And I just feel like if I leave it my name, then it's like it's my show. I mean, it is my show, but it's not my show because I like to share my stuff. So I'm just gonna leave it as a name, and just create the different editions. So you can go to Farron Dozier on Instagram, Sports Collective Media on Instagram, the Farron Dozier Show on Instagram. They all lead back to each other for the different shows that I'm doing. So, and I still got like 2 more. So I'll leak it real quick. NBR has a audio platform. So they have a talk platform and they have an audio. And I really, 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 really want to have a music show. I mean, I came to KCA Radio. If you listen to my very first show, was a music talk show. But, you got to pay royalties, right? So, unfortunately, some songs get blocked. and it was messing up my platforms. So I'm thinking about pre-recording a music show. Bringing back the Music Marketplace in Time, Soundtrack to Life. I'm thinking about bringing that show back as an audio show. Right now I'm looking at a particular time. I'm looking at 90 minutes. So I would set it up as play music for like maybe the first half hour, and then in that hour have some different conversations connected to music, like my Music Marketplace in Time, the Soundtrack to Life episode could be there. The mental music could be there because I can interview athletes. I got about 7-8 questions around music, and so I really, really want that music show. I might give up my Trench Talk show over there just to have the music show. But I really, really want a music talk show. And they have a platform that I can play the music on. What else? The other show is called America Tell the Truth. America Tell the Truth is something that I discovered in working with Caldwell with his education of goaltenders and LBI solutions, that inclusion and exclusion is emotional. You know, we're talking about, if you look at even the news right now, they're talking about DEI, diversity and inclusion and equity. Like, it's another side of that DEI that I want to talk about that relates to this talk show. So inclusion and exclusion is not just what you do for me. Like, you can open up these doors and the government can open up all these opportunities for people of color or whatever your nationality or background is to get these kind of jobs, right? But if I don't experience being included for myself, I'm not going to go through that door. So now you have our next generation behind us who are trying to find their way in life and find a job that they want to take on, or their parents are pressuring them to get this particular job. And in the back of their mind is like, I can't do that. I can't do that kind of job. I'm like, this was a real thing. This is a real thing. So you have to experience being included. It's a different conversation that I can have, that I've been having, but it's not what you do for me. It's my experience. And a lot of times, a lot of the experience about life is, what you do. We discount who I'm being. Like, you can no longer discount the human experience. So inclusion and exclusion is an emotional transition. It's emotional, right? And so that's one of the shows that I have. I was going to just dedicate one show to that, but I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But that's something I believe that it's hurting us as a people, because at the end of the day, the sense of belonging for human beings is what we really want. We want to belong. And sometimes we have to pretend to belong just to feel like we're accepted. And if you tell the truth, maybe you've experienced that for yourself. And a lot of times with the America Tell the Truth episode, imagine just people who have came to this country as second-class citizens, right? We're gonna take it there, or African Americans or blacks who are still dealing with or managing slavery conversations and Jim Crow law conversations, or you have the Irish Americans who came here, or the Germans, or whatever your nationality, whatever your parents, great-great-grandparents brought them here to the United States. A lot of those were fleeing from their own countries to come here for opportunity, but they came here as second-class citizens. Do you understand? That's an emotional conversation. To experience yourself as a second-class citizen. See, they didn't think about that emotional state. And then you're dealing with all the stuff that you brought, your grandparents brought from their country here with those emotional fractures. So everybody's carrying something, right? And I'm just creating a space to have that conversation. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. That's my point. We're all human beings and we all experience something. And a lot of times we're carrying those emotions. And then when you look back at your parents and you wonder why your parents act the way they act, because of your grandparents, how they raised them, because of what your grandparents was dealing with when they was growing up. So all these conversations get passed on, emotional wounds and fractures, to the point where, we're all disconnected. And we can't even hang out with our own family. You can't even stand your mom and dad because they get on your nerve, but they're just trying to make sure your life turns out. Yeah, it's that deep. So that's a couple other shows, but for now, at Farron Dozier, you can go there and check those out. I think my guest is trying to get on the platform over there. We're gonna go. No. We're gonna place another commercial. Comigo. Well, you want to set him up? Yeah. So just go. Yeah. Just play. Let's play the PSA and then come back. This is the Farron Dozier Show on KC Radio 106.5 FM, TV AM. Shout us out. What's the count?
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But
I sent
when we
the link that
returned
you sent
home,
me.
we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Comigo. Comigo is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes in moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Comigo decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Comigo.com to learn how you can get Comigo through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
This is the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also, stream from the KCARadio.com website. Hey, so one of my topics is Life of A is a series. You can go to farrond.com as well. You'll see Life of a 5-year-old and Life of an 8-year-old. Well, this is one of my songs from my childhood that reminds me of my mom. I love my mom dearly. And so in the Music Marketplace in Time, the soundtrack to life, like when I put all those shows together, I asked guests, what song reminds them of their mom, their dad, things like that. And so this is mine. Reminds me of my mom. This is from 1977. Strawberry Letter 23 from the Brothers Johnson.
Pretty music out here, so happy and loud. Blue flowers echo from a cherry cloud. Feel sunshine sparkle pink and blue. The playgrounds will laugh if you try to ask, or is it cool? Is it cool? If you arrive and don't see me, I'm gonna be with my baby.
And just so you know, the Life of the series are so far 10 decisions that I discovered after taking the landmark form in 2011 in the midst of my depression and anxiety. That personal development education is my new philosophy. So I live life from an ideology, a philosophy, and a theology, right? And so at 40 years old, I had to challenge my whole first 40 years of my life, right? Because sometimes we grew up in environments where our parents teach us certain things to survive. Sometimes we learn from TV and movies of who we need to be in love and romance and making friends. And so we have all these different outside influences that kind of shape us of who we want to be as a person, right? And so at 40 years old, I was introduced to this education, and I looked at my whole life in these different distinctions. And I discovered that the life of a 5-year-old was a decision I made about my dad, that he didn't love me at 5. And then another decision that the life of an 8-year-old, the latchkey kid of 1978, was a decision I made that my mom abandoned me. And so I imagine finding those at 40, and you've been living 35 years and 32 years with these views of your parents that weren't actually the truth. It was my truth, but it wasn't the truth. And so reconciliation and forgiveness, all that plays a part in that. I was able to restore a relationship with my dad, my mom, myself, and now I can talk about it, articulate it, and hopefully share with others how to restore these relationships. So this is the song that reminds me of my mom, Strawberry Letter 23. All right, welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAARadio.com website, the station that leaves no listener behind. We're going to get into this next conversation. I got my guy on the line. What's happening, man?
What's going on?
All right, what's happening with you?
Pleasure to be here once again.
Man,
You already know.
thanks for hanging out, man.
Yes, sir.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is What you got? You got BR Elite, right? Is that
I came up with a radio name, man. I'm going with BR Elite. I explained to Farron what the background is, my initials, and I want to be elite. I want to be the best when it comes to the radio thing. So
exactly?
that's what ties it in.
Cool, man. Cool, man. Well, thanks for hanging out tonight with us. Always a pleasure, man. I know you had some conversations that you wanted to bring to the table. I kind of shared what I've been up to with the listeners on the first half, so I want to open up the conversation, the deck for you, so you can, create the space.
Yeah. So you already know me and you had a conversation earlier this week, and I had brought up that I knew that you were like previously in the armed forces. I didn't know like which one exactly to be specific, but if you could tell me which one.
Yeah,
one
so
were you in?
I spent 24 years in the Army. From age
Okay,
19,
24 in the Army.
age 19, I retired at age 43.
Okay. And basically what I wanted to know is that through those years of I guess like whatever you did in the Army, like would you say that made you like mentally tougher, like to deal with things in life, or did it like diminish your mental toughness, or did it help? I just wanted to know that.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
That's why I'm in front of you. Because
I hear that.
that military life, it gave me mental toughness, another level,
Right.
but it also hurt me in the levels of mental toughness, because the things that I was already dealing with before I joined the service,
hmm
like the voids, the military
Yeah.
filled those voids. But at the same time, when that military career was over, now those voids are back empty again.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, let's say relationships. When I joined the Army at 19, I was married. I got married right before I joined. And as soon as I got the basic training, the conversation was, hey, you don't worry about your wife or your girlfriend, because you could be daydreaming and get your whole squad killed, worrying about where
Right.
your wife or your girlfriend, what they're doing back at home.
All right.
Now, as a 19-year-old, like, I took that to heart,
Yeah,
right?
I would too.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you would take it, but now there was a layer before that. As I share with what I discovered was I already had some emotional issue in relationships.
Right.
So I was already easy to be a cold person and not have many emotions because I was protecting
Right.
myself from all those years as a child, as a teenager.
Right.
So now the military just enhanced that. So you mean I can cut off my emotions cold like that in a second? Oh, it was perfect. But yet it also hurt me at the same time.
I can understand that part.
And so you talk about that, and you talk about, as I share about the identity crisis. I went from, my playing basketball as an identity for all those years. And then now that identity is gone, and now I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
And so 3 weeks into basic training, my brain clicks over from being a civilian to now being a soldier. So that's who I am now. And now you look
Right.
at 24 years of that, then who am I after that uniform is gone? And that was the trigger of the depression, the anxiety, the suicide ideation, because I lost who Farron was. I didn't know who Farron was when that rank was
Right.
taken away, when that uniform was gone.
Right.
So yeah, it's I don't even know how to tell you.
I was gonna say, but like to this point in your life now, do you think you found who you are? Like at this current point?
Currently, yes, I have a better. I can
Grasp of
articulate.
it.
Yeah, I can articulate because see, everything we're talking about is in language,
Right.
right? So either you describe life, or you say exactly what's so.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people to say what's so because then you got to tell the truth about who you are.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
I cheated. I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of
Right.
as a teenager and growing up as an adult.
As we all have.
As we all have, right? So if we tell the truth, everybody got something. But to have the confidence, the courage to own your past and to own your experiences, and now when that's brought up, I'm not triggered by it.
Right.
Right? So I own my experiences, I own my past.
Yeah.
So I can talk about it freely. But it took 14 years to get to that point though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, I respect it though, but another question I would say I have for you is that like for I guess like maybe young adults coming up or like somebody around my age, would you
Mhm.
like recommend going to the army or any like type of armed forces to like I guess like help shape your direction in life, or do you feel like you just gotta find your own way, or would that help by joining?
No, I mean I would say yes for sure. I would
Okay.
say like my uncle talked to me when I was 17 going on 18. He was
Right.
like, "What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "I'm not sure." So he was like, "Go part-time first." Right? Because if
Okay.
you go National Guard or Reserves, you're going 1 week in the month, 2 weeks a year, you still get some benefits. But if you're not mentally ready for that every day and you go full time, you're going to be stuck in that contract when you get there, and you may not want to be there no more. You just can't get out of that. Right? So
Yeah.
I recommend going part-time first, or if you think that you have the mentality for the full-time life, then go in for 3 years, go in for 4 years. I totally recommend it. You become a veteran, you get the benefits, you get the education. It's a great stepping stone.
Hmm.
But also, I would talk to that person again about the mental toughness and the mental health.
Yeah.
Go work on that before you go in that environment, so your mind is calm and clear about who you are.
Right.
Right? So yeah, I definitely.
Okay.
A lot of people don't go like I did for 20 years anymore. People go in for 3, 4, 5 years and get out.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're actually the first person I like know personally that said like 20 plus years as
Yeah.
their answer. Like my dad was in the Navy, but I don't think it was 20 years. So
Yeah.
I would have to ask him personally, but
I stayed that long because I knew that after I did the part-time and went full-time, I was like, I like it. Like this is me. Like I enjoyed
Right.
it. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the guy that say I should have stayed in.
hmm
Right? Because I meet a lot of veterans who say, man, I should have stayed in. I would have retired by now and blah, blah. I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? At 25 years old, I'm like, and I don't know what it is about the age of 25. It's like the pressures of life come at you. Got to have all this life figured out by 25.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So at 25, I made that decision. Hey, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to stay in or am I going to get out? Because by the time you do 10 or 12 years, there's only 8 years left.
Mhm.
So if you can do 10, you can do 20.
Yeah.
If you could do
Basically.
12, you could do 20. So
Yeah.
I made that decision. Like, nah, I'm no matter what happens, I'm not getting out. They got to put me out, and they had to put me out.
I respect it. It is good to hear your perspective because I know you're like well versed in that area. So
Yeah, no, thank you.
I've always
That's
been
important.
curious.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
What else you got?
Um, Nothing really. If we want to take it back to sports, that was kind of disappointing this today. Very disappointing, Obviously, Chiefs going back. Congrats to them, but
Oh man,
I didn't want the Eagles to go, so
you didn't want the
that,
Eagles?
that kind of sucks. Yeah, I don't really. I know a lot of people that are Eagles fans, but
Yeah,
I mean,
not on this side of
I don't.
town. Not on this side of
Yeah,
town.
you know me and you both wouldn't want to see that. So
No, not at all.
yeah, and you saw what happened to my team in the first round, so
I mean,
it hasn't really been the best 3 weeks. So
well, my stepfather's grandson, so I guess my nephew-in-law,
okay.
or step nephew or whatever.
Hmm.
Jeremy McNichols plays for Washington. So
Oh, he plays for him?
yeah,
Okay.
he fumbled the ball. He had a it was that was him
Oh,
that
that
fumbled.
was
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's
I saw that. I was like, is that Jeremy? I was like, no.
that's
I was like, was
crazy.
that Jeremy? Then I saw.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, Jeremy.
To be fair,
No.
it's like their first time really being in a big
Right?
game, so I can kind of understand, but it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
time and place.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always unfortunate,
Yeah.
but they got more opportunity though. They're a young
I
team.
mean, hey, they got that. Look how far they got.
And man,
Yeah.
the quarterback for the Commanders is a year older than me.
He's from out here in IE.
Yeah, that's what I didn't even know that. Like, I just
Yeah.
found out he's from California. I
Yeah,
didn't even
he's
know that.
from the IE.
So yeah, shout out to Jaden Daniels. Great season.
Yeah. Excellent.
Regardless of how that game went, still had a great season. Yeah.
I just thought it was the end for Kansas City, man. I just in
I thought it was too,
it's
but
time for a new era, right? I'm
at
thinking it's
this
time
point,
for a
yeah, at
new
this point,
era.
it's like, yeah. At this point, I'm rooting for him because I don't want the Eagles to win. So I guess we just gonna see a three-peat.
I don't know,
I'm cool
man.
with that. So,
All my teams were out. I couldn't believe that the Lions lost it like that.
man.
So
Oh, one thing we should talk about. Do we still got a little time?
yeah, you got some time.
So I want to ask you, just from being a basketball player, and obviously I didn't play like as serious as you did, but
Mhm.
like, what did Kobe like mean to you? Like his legacy, like watching him. If you
Oh,
watched him like for any amount of
I
time,
wasn't a fan.
you wasn't a fan.
I wasn't a fan until, of course, after he passed,
Hmm.
and there was a video that had popped up, and
Yeah.
it was I think he did a video. He was in high school still, and he was talking about going to the NBA, and he was sharing his life. He talked about some of his life experiences, right?
All right.
And because of my mindset and my listening skills, like I heard what he was dealing with as a young child coming back from Italy,
All right.
and why, as an adult, a lot of the players would say he was arrogant, like his
Yeah.
attitude.
I
Right?
heard that. I believe I heard that same video.
Right.
But,
So when I heard that, my heart softened for him because it made sense, because I could see myself in him coming back for this country with not having friends and not getting invited into the hangouts,
yeah.
right? And so he's dribbling his basketball, and his identity
Yeah.
came right there. If I have no
Yeah.
friends, I'm gonna be the best basketball player I can be. And because of the lack of communication with his peers, it transitioned into his adult life. Well, so that his attitude, but it wasn't that he was arrogant. It was just
Yeah.
his mentality, the Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
And so from that point, and I heard that clip, man, my heart just hurt for him, because I'm like, man, no wonder he act like that. Like it made
So the
sense.
emotional part, yeah.
Yeah,
you
it
can see.
made sense.
Mhm.
You know, why would I pass you the ball? You don't come to practice. Like you
Man,
show up.
you
show
don't
up.
put as much work
Right,
in as me, so
it's
why
the-
would I? Why would
Exactly, but that was from a 9-year-old child, bro.
I yeah,
Like
that's crazy when you get to the root of it.
that's what I'm
That is
saying.
actually crazy.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So that started allowing me to kind of look at his game and look at who he was as a father and things like that. you know,
Man.
and how the world forgave him for all the stuff. Like I said, he wasn't perfect either,
Man.
but the world forgave him for those things. You
Yeah.
know? So yeah,
I'm glad we could kind of like shed a light on it just because, today's the anniversary
I
of his
know.
passing. And
The
I don't
same
know,
day, right?
like
Because
I
it was a
wasn't,
Sunday. It was a Sunday.
yeah, it was literally, it's crazy because it was a Pro Bowl game like that day for the NFL.
Yeah,
And they stopped the whole like televised recording of that
yeah,
to like put the little TMZ headline up of him like
yeah,
passing. So
yeah. I
it's just
remember.
crazy.
I
Five
was at
years
church
later.
that I was at church that day, that morning.
Okay. Yeah. Did you believe it when you first heard it though? 'Cause I didn't believe it
I didn't
personally.
believe it, but then
Yeah.
the way that they painted the picture of him going to the game in the helicopter and stuff like that, it was like that's how he traveled,
Yeah.
you know. And it was
20
like,
years. Can you believe that though?
yeah,
20 years of taking helicopters.
right,
And that happens to be the one. Like,
yeah. It just,
that's crazy.
it's just, and then you see all the stuff afterwards, and it's like, you know, the brain is the mind. Again, the mind is so powerful, man, that
Yeah.
we can make things mean stuff that don't really mean that,
True.
you know. And so it's just unfortunate for the fans to have to manage that type of loss, and his daughter too, as
Yeah,
a father
yeah.
with girls too. So it's like all that, man. It's like
Yeah.
can't even imagine what that feels like for her
Man.
and the family.
I was glad the world got to like know like the work side of how much work you put in. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know that much. Like I didn't know all the injuries he played through, all
Oh
the
yeah, the finger
thousands of
injuries and
hours
all
playing.
of
Yeah,
that.
like I don't want. I used to not want to go to practice when I fell sick. He playing with a torn Achilles. Like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
I remember when he
That's
came in the
different.
league, and like
Yeah,
he was just all over the. He like I'm like, why is the dude on the floor? Like every play, like he ended up on the floor. Like I was
yeah.
like, what is it with this dude?
That's what
But
I'm saying. 18 years old. Come on now.
yeah, such a tough loss to the league,
To
man.
the world,
To
to
the
the
world.
basketball community,
Yeah,
everywhere.
I still I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I'm in a level of grief myself still with my own personal grief.
Yeah,
But sometimes I'm like, why don't they just let that die off for a little bit? Like just it's like
right.
they put him in so much stuff,
Man.
right? You
But I
see? Do you
think it's
notice
kind of
that?
like because it's like a way to show respect, but you got to like go through all the memories and like keep posting him to remember it in a way, if that makes sense. Like I feel like if they
Yeah,
didn't include, like if Nike took him out of all the advertisements, if his wife stopped talking about him, then it'd be like, oh, did you forget? People would start to say that.
I
So that's
just I
how I
just
feel.
I just I just feel for the family though. I'm feel like, man, like
Yeah,
let
I
it.
do
Can
too.
you let
Yeah,
it go? Just can't let it go for a little bit.
yeah.
But that's
I'm
just
sure
me.
his wife she probably just want to be like in silence, but working with Nike, you gotta like promote. She probably gotta promote new Kobe's every month, so
Right?
because he still got a shoe line with him, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I get that part, and again, his fan base. I mean, globally, I
Yeah,
just I guess from a grieving perspective, it's
yeah,
like, man, just let the guy rest for a minute,
man,
so his family can heal.
yeah,
I don't know if as a child, if I wanted to see my dad in so much advertisements on social media, like how
right,
I need that space to heal for me,
yeah.
but that's
No,
just
I
me.
completely understand that part.
Yeah. So what's up with you? What's next with you? We got a couple minutes left.
Um, I'm just ready to do more episodes. Ready to,
Get you ready?
yeah. I'm
Okay.
trying to do my own content creation as well. I'm start working on that on the side. Probably, I don't want to say make my own podcast, but definitely like talk more about sports on my own
Yeah,
platforms
for
or just
sure.
life on my own
For
platforms.
sure. Yeah, yeah. Like I said,
Yeah,
we all start from somewhere.
yeah.
And
And I'm on like a fitness journey right now. I'm trying to really get in shape this year. So
yeah.
I keep saying it every year, so I gotta really
I saw you
get
in the
for
gym
real.
shooting the baskets. I was like, okay, he done
Oh
really shooting
yeah,
some baskets
yeah.
over
That's
there.
that's just me, a little warm up, but I'm
Yeah.
really gonna start playing like real full course.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for hanging out
Yeah.
today, man. I appreciate the questions.
Thank you
We
for
got to get
having me.
out of here and play these last PSAs, man. But I appreciate you and look forward to seeing you again next week. Or
Always,
I'll see you
always.
online anyway.
Yes, sir.
All right, shout us out.
All right.
All right, this is the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. At Farron Dozier on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Shout us out. What's the count?
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Calmago. Calmago is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes. In moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Calmago decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Calmago.com to learn how you can get Calmago through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
KCAA.